Right now on Hoosier News Source, find out how much the 2019 IU Dance Marathon raised for Riley Children's Hospital.
And new technology from IU parking operations could change the way you park on campus.
And I have when we can expect rain in the week ahead, as well as the forecast for the last home football game on Saturday. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Noelle Friel.
And I'm Lexi Vanetti. The total is in from this weekend's IU Dance Marathon. This year, the event raised over $4.2 million for the Riley Hospital for Children. That funding will be used for things like research and financial support for Riley families. The 36-hour fundraiser brought different committees, clubs, and Greek organizations together to raise money. This was the 29th year for the event, and it keeps getting bigger. Here's what a couple IUDM participants had to say about the marathon.
My favorite part about the marathon is hearing all the rally stories, because I think it's really a great way for a lot of people to understand why we're doing this and where all of the money is going towards. And I just really like hearing all of the different stories and realizing that I really am making a difference with my fundraising and with my involvement in this organization.
My favorite part of the dance marathon is hanging out with all my best friends and watching them do such amazing things.
Dancers spent their time learning the line dance, playing games, listening to families from the Riley Hospital, and much more. This year they raised over $70,000 more than they raised last year. Another vaping incident strikes Indiana. The state has recorded the 4th death related to vaping, the 2nd one this month. This means Indiana now has the most vaping-related deaths in the country, along with Illinois and California. According to state officials, the majority of Indiana's cases are among 18 to 29-year-olds. For more information, students can make an appointment at the IU Health Center or email quitnow@indiana.edu.
This week, IU Student Government and Union Board held a panel on gun violence in the Wittenberger Auditorium. I was there as students engaged in a discussion with the President of Student Government, Union Board, and the Superintendent of Public Safety.
When the bullets started pounding, fear made an annoyed crowd trying to leave the party into a stampede, where few thought clearly of anything other than, "I've got to get out of here."
Chilling stories from the night of the Grant Street shooting were recounted at a panel discussion on gun violence put on by IU Student Government and Union Board Wednesday night. Many students raised concerns about the IU Notify policy after a string of gun violence incidents that have occurred this semester. So how does IU decide when to send out an IU Notify alert? According to IU Student Government President Isabel Michigan, the decision is in large part guided by a federal law called the Clery Act.
The Clery Act is a federal statute, so something that the federal government imposes on all universities and colleges that receive Department of Ed funding, so most of them.
The Clery Act dictates what information IU can and cannot release, not only in IU Notify alerts, but also in crime notices and public safety advisories.
Most people just don't know about it, which is why there's so much concern over why isn't IU telling us when there is a shooter or there is something that happens off campus. And a lot of the reason is because Clery tells us we can't.
IU freshman Anastasia Sullivan, who gave opening remarks on behalf of Campus Action for Democracy, says she'd like to see IU improve its notification policy.
I would really like to see IUPD and Bloomington PD talk to each other more and make sure they have the information. I would also like to see another form of notifications so that we know that IU is aware that these things are happening and we know that IU is taking action on them.
While Superintendent of Public Safety Ben Hunter told students to remember that IU Notify is not a news service, he says that looking for new notification systems will be a top priority for IUPD going forward.
Down the road, we have to figure out what are those other tools to get you information. Is that us using social media more, or are we sending you to a link? So we're constantly looking at our processes to see if there's other communication tools that we can push out to students so you can have more information. And not just students, but parents as well.
To give your input on IU's notification system, you can contact your IU Student Government representatives at iustudentgovernment.indiana.edu. You may want to think twice the next time you park in a campus garage without a permit. IU Parking Operations is launching a pilot program to increase the efficiency of parking enforcement. Trucks equipped with cameras will scan license plates to ensure parked cars have valid permits. The program launches this month in the Poplars and Jordan garages. The university hopes to eventually eliminate permits and paper citations. Today, thousands of teachers from around the state gathered to rally at the Indiana State House in Indianapolis. The rally, called the Red for Ed Action Day, was organized by the Indiana State Teachers Association and other labor groups. They hope to advocate for better funding for public schools and higher teacher compensation. Many schools around the state closed as teachers made their way to the Capitol.
The job hunt is on for students who plan to graduate in the coming months. Last Friday, the media school held their annual Media Career Day, and HNS reporter Anna Black was there to speak with some of the panelists.
We're here at Franklin Hall for the Media Career Day, where IU alum have traveled all across the country to come and share their tips and tricks for how to be successful in the media world. Getting a job in the media world is similar yet different than many other careers. It requires one to be much more assertive and engaging, according to IU Career Coach.
Everything will be useful in terms of experience, skills, and knowledge. So maybe just being more engaged and staying that way, and also being willing to be your best.
Different sessions were held by IU alum who gave their best tips for working in the industry.
You don't want to burn bridges. It's so competitive. If there is one little thing that you can do to make yourself stand out, find out one story that nobody's ever told, that nobody's ever heard of, that's going to make you stand out, and that's going to make you a good candidate, and that's going to get you hired.
The Media Career Day was full of very important pieces of advice that all IU students can take away. And, of course, as always, remember to
bring your A game, to use a cliche, to understand that the world is both your lens, your filter, and also your biggest critic.
For Hoosier News Source, Anna Black.
Be on the lookout for more networking and professional development events next semester. To speak with the career coach, you can visit the Walter Center in Ernie Pyle Hall.
Coming up, a look at what weather to expect for your drive home this weekend.
And this week in sports, we'll take a look at the men's soccer team after their Big Ten tournament win. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Thanksgiving break is just days away. Zoe Mintz is here to give us the latest on what to expect as we close out the week. Zoe?
Thanks, Lexi. And as we head into the next few days, we are going to be seeing some rain and even the possibility of snow later in the week. It should begin Thursday morning as this low pressure system pushes up into the northeastern part of our country. It's going to bring with it some rain, some wind, and definitely some cold as well, as that continues to push eastward throughout the country as we head into the next few days. But unfortunately, this system is pretty slow moving, and it's going to allow for the rain all the way into the weekend. But luckily, it seems that the rain chances will be decreasing for the last home football game on Saturday against the Michigan Wolverines at 3:30. We can see if you're going to be starting to tailgate around noon, it should have the possibility of rain, only around a 35% chance, and winds around 5 miles an hour. But as you head into game time, the chance of rain decreases, leaving us with partly sunny skies and temperatures into the mid to lower 40s. Then as we head into the overnight hours, definitely should cool back down into around the mid to lower 30s, but the chance of rain decreases as we head into the weekend, leaving us with altogether a beautiful weekend. Altogether, after all this rain, we should see the increasing temperatures leading to some beautiful days to end our month of November and start off Thanksgiving break the right way. And if we take a look at the extended forecast, like I said, rain is the name of the game as we head into Thursday, Friday, and even into the morning on Saturday. That system pushes past us as we head into the weekend and leaves us for a gorgeous and sunny end of the weekend and even beginning of Thanksgiving break. So altogether 50s, high 50s. If you're going to be around here, staying around Bloomington for Thanksgiving break, I highly suggest you go out and enjoy the gorgeous end of November. Back to you.
Thanks, Zoe. It was a good weekend for the men's soccer team. IUSTV sports reporter Maxwell Glenn has more on their big win at the Big Ten tournament. Maxwell?
It seems like every time we talk about this men's soccer team, they're either playing in overtime or making history. Well, this weekend both actually happened, but not even double overtime was enough. In the Big Ten championship game, it all came down to PKs, a stellar performance from Roman Celentano, and a clutch PK from Joshua Penn sent the Hoosiers home with a double. IU wins with a 4-3 advantage in PKs. Indiana already won the regular season title, but made it a double for the second straight season. That's the 10th Big Ten double and 14th Big Ten tournament win in program history. Indiana earned the 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. They will play the winner of Kentucky versus Loyola Chicago. Now, Celentano and Penn are just two of those freshmen stepping up this season. Coach Yeagley talked about how they've already grown up and are no longer playing like freshmen. Aiden Morris is another standout who has been making quite a big difference this year. Indiana men's soccer lost 10 of 11 starters after last season, forcing Coach Todd Yeagley and his Hoosiers to adapt to an entirely new situation. This year, Yeagley found what he needed, not only from his returning players, but also from his youngest players, the freshmen. One of the most prominent is Aiden Morris.
He's a dominant personality. He's one that we want to have the ball a lot. He's starting to really find ways to affect the game without it, which I'm really excited about.
I mean, a lot of guys, especially when you get to this level, they can hit most passes. They can do things technically. Obviously, Aiden's really good technically, but it's the way they see the game and see things before they happen, see different movements that most people don't see. So he's really creative in that aspect.
Morris has assumed a much larger role than others, playing in 20 games this season and starting in 19 of them.
It's more awesome, it's more special when you're doing it for an awesome organization in college like this.
His performance at Indiana is reminiscent of other elite midfielders.
The one guy I compared him to was Cameron Lindley, who's a super high-level player, plays for Orlando City. Just very technical, and he separates himself by the way he sees the game and reads the game.
While Aiden Morris's contributions don't always show up on the stat sheet, there's also another interesting item that does not as well. It's the fact that Aiden Morris is actually 17 years old.
I think it's, it's what it is. I'm in college, I'm in the situation I am, and if the opponents know I'm 17 or 18, it doesn't really matter. They still come at me at the same intensity.
He's got the world at his feet, and I think a lot of times when you kind of play, he has one of the highest confidence levels on any of this team because he knows what he can bring. So I really don't think, and I'm a firm believer in this at all levels. You see it in the Premier League, you got 18, 19-year-olds bringing it and starting for a Premier League level team. So age doesn't really matter for me. It's about the level you bring, and right now he's bringing a really high level for us.
For us, we're kind of blinded by the year. It doesn't really matter what age. We'll put the best group out there that we feel can help us win a game.
And it is that group that Morris finds himself in regularly. For IUSTV, I'm Maxwell Glenn. Aiden Morris will be a pivotal player in the upcoming tournament as Indiana looks to make another deep run.
And it'll be interesting to see who they play. Will it be Loyola or Kentucky? What are you thinking?
I think that's going to be a great matchup, but I'd like to see Kentucky because Indiana tied them last time. Went into double overtime, 0-0, nobody could score. It's going to be a great matchup if Kentucky plays Indiana.
It sounds like it was a close game last weekend. Do you think this next game will be close as well?
Well, I think we've seen double overtime, regular overtime. We've seen PKs, pretty much everything this year, so I would say it's not out of the question.
Thanks, Maxwell. And thank you for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source.
To learn more about this week's stories, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IUSTV News.
I'm Lexi Vanetti.
And I'm Noelle Friel. From Bloomington, Indiana, we'll see you next time.